Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Spiral Up Living with Joanna, Trish, and we are so excited today to have our special guest, Warren Falkenstein, with us, who comes to us from Toronto. Hi, Warren.
Hi, Warren.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
We're so happy that you agreed to come on and chat with us today. I remember, was it 2 years ago now, guys? 2 years?
2 years ago?
Yeah, that we met at a speaking event in January in the beautiful Rocky Mountains of Alberta. Just Kananaskis, just an hour and a half from me. And we were there in a transformational event, not just to become better speakers and to learn about that, but to learn more about ourselves. And we're so excited that we were able to meet Warren at that time. And Warren, I just want to say that your message and how you live your life is a welcome reminder to me to look at anything that happens in my life from a sense of compassion and joy and love, and that through mind over matter, you can just overcome anything.
I'm really glad to hear that, Trish. Thank you. It's important that people are inspired and take action with what it is that I'm aiming to achieve or share.
Thank you.
And we are so excited to have you here because we think that you and your message are going to add a lot of value to our community of Spiral Up. And it is because you are one of those embodiments of what keep spiraling up and keep improving and keep getting even better every day is. And I know that I'm talking in behalf of Trish and I, but we deeply admire you and enjoy learning with you. And we are looking forward to have this opportunity for you to share your message and share a little bit of who you are and what you are doing in the world, changing the world with our community, so you can help our community to spiral up even more. So with that being said, welcome, Warren. And why you just don't share a little bit about you and your journey and your message? You have a beautiful message.
Thank you for all of that. Well, I appreciate that, and I'm really happy that our paths have crossed. It's very important to me to know who's in my life, and I always connect dots about who and where I connected and how. So it's like when I was a kid, I trained with a Tai Chi master, and because of him, I stayed in contact with him, and because of him, somehow he introduced me to somebody here. It was actually Jesse Camacho at this rally fundraiser event, and then from there, I met other friends that I continue to speak. You know, it's just like I love connecting the dots. So I do appreciate you guys very much, and I do remember the first time I walked in and you were in the front row with me. You're like, "Can I sit here?" And then JB was on the other side, and that's how it all began. And when it comes to my story or who I am or what I am today, is I am because of everything that I've gone through in my life, as well as every lesson that I've learned, every person that is in my life, everything that I've studied, but not so much studied, but more applied. And I feel that is very important now, especially that everybody is facing adversity. And I know I'm sitting right now, but I use a wheelchair and crutches a lot, most of my life. I'm 36 now, and I lived maybe from an early child, I was gifted with a disability. And when I received that disability, it was an adventure, so to speak. And that adventure became whatever it was meant to become. But the pain and the suffering and the fear and the adversity that's faced from an early childhood until now to this day is undescribable. And the fact that the amount of doctors and people I've met in the waiting rooms and all that stuff, if I look back at that, I don't exactly regret it. And I don't exactly wish for a different life, because I know that there's a lot of people that I wouldn't meet in this lifetime if I hadn't gone through what I've gone through. And relationships are important to me. However, there is suffering along the way, and I've lost a lot of my extremities because of the illness and functionality, and there is a ton of limitations and adversity and challenges that I face every single day of my life. What I'm taking a stand for is to guide and hold space for people to live and love a life of purpose over pain as I do. To live and love a life of purpose over pain is something that is very important to me to do so, in order not necessarily to disregard the pain, but to use it as a vehicle in order to achieve something that it is that we intend to become in this world. And that being said, something in a sense of contribution, something that is going to uplift the spirit of somebody else, something that is going to be able to provide people with the tools in order for them to overcome, not overcome, but transform the unexpected adversities that come our way. And right now, we're all experiencing that right now. So welcome to my world, basically, is what I've been saying lately. And in a good way, because yes, people are suffering, but I mean, our emotional state and how we perceive things is the number one priority that I cannot stress enough, you know. And how many times do our buttons get pushed? And do we react, or do we get angry, or do we get frustrated? All of those I don't want to say negative, but those uncomfortable emotions that we feel affect our state of being. They affect our body, they affect our mind, they affect our spirit, they affect our health. And when it comes to healing, healing doesn't necessarily mean, like you mentioned, mind over matter. To be okay with the fact that my fingers or my body parts, myself, may or may not have the opportunity to grow back in this lifetime or not, and to be okay with both outcomes. And that is an extreme example, but I mean, it can be applied in all areas of our life. So what I'm doing now is besides public speaking, and you know, as soon as that resumes on the stages again, I'm also offering many coaching one-on-one programs and group coaching calls as well. Just the intention right now is to deal with love over fear and adversity coaching, as well as mindset training, and to keep the focus of the mindset strong enough to be able to handle not just what's going on now, but to be ready for the unexpected that, you know, may come again, because we've all experienced the unexpected right now.
And one of the things that I love, that is one of the things that I would like you to share with our audience, is talking about adversity and talking about loving life over fear. Is I remember listening to you. I was in the back of the room and you were doing your speech. And there was a moment that you took your crutch, one of your crutches, up on the air, and you say, maybe they need me more than what I need them. Maybe I'm giving my crutches purpose. And at that moment, I just start having tears going. I used to get emotional remembering that, because it just inspired me to see how what you are saying, how is our mindset and how we can transform whatever is getting into us into a growing opportunity. So I would love to hear a little bit more on that, and what advice you give to our listeners that are going through these trying times and these challenging situations, for them to find inside of them the same fire and hope and light and love that you found, to the point that you think and believe that you give your crushes a purpose in life.
I'm really glad that you were moved, touched, and inspired by that. Thank you for sharing that with me. I did not know that. Wayne Dyer has a quote: "When you change the way you look at things, the things around you change." And when you do change the way you look at things, the things around you not just change on the outside, but they change on the inside as well. I used to fight and resist and push and become depressed with all that I'm going through. I used to fight my wheelchair. I hate using my wheelchair. And I'll use that word. And I don't like using the crutches. And I would push myself every day, working out, trying to get off of them. I was resisting. And as the saying goes, what you resist persists. And I remember I remember going to the gym 5 hours every single day or more, pushing myself until I hurt my other leg. And when I went back to my physiotherapist, his words were, I told you to take it easy, but for some reason, you either do not understand what taking it easy means, or you're stubborn, or taking it easy for you is not taking it easy for somebody else. Maybe you just don't understand the word. I was very determined, and I am where I am today, and I'm grateful. However, there was a resistance, there was a push, there was a fight. And that's what we always do. When we have a pain in our body, when we have a headache, for example, something small, something simple. Well, it's not simple, like migraines are traumatic, but let's say you have a headache or you bang your finger. What's the first thing that normally somebody does when that happens? Right. We clench, we curse, we yell, we get mad, we get irritated, we shout, we say, ow, and that's okay. You're allowed to feel the pain. But what if we didn't do that? And our body is our gift. And, instead of right away, we're putting that negative emotion, that negative energy, that negative frequency, we're calling that in right away. But then when we think about when a child hurts their knee, what's the first thing the mother does? Usually is, we kiss the area, or we give it love right away. And that frequency of love, the problem is, it's a 4-letter word that's used so often that somebody says, I love sushi, is the same as I love you. And we've totally destroyed, yeah, me too. We've not destroyed, but we've totally made that word into something else that means more, it's just the power of that frequency, of that energy of the word love is greater than what it is that we understand it to be. And it's been dumbed down so much that now when we actually want to tap into that energy frequency of love, that healing energy, it brings so much more than just that feeling of love, or what we see in the movies or whatnot. And when we apply love to every area of our life, even a computer, something of the mundane, it does make a difference and change the way we look at things. So when I apply that and use the example of my crutches need me to walk, as opposed to I need my crutches to walk, it changes the whole paradigm, the whole intention of the whole thing of me being dependent on something that I've been fighting. And therefore it removes the fighting aspect of it. And some people may disagree, that say, well, it's just some object that you do need assistance with. I'm like, yeah, I do, I get that. But the reason why I'm saying that is because I want to give an example of how I'm changing the way I look at things. Somebody once taught me to name my crutches. I haven't got to that level yet, but but I mean, it can be applied in everywhere. Sitting in my wheelchair, maybe I don't like being pushed around. Nobody does, but maybe the person pushing me, it's helping them be of the service, of contribution, or I'm sharing with them to be able to share with me. And then there's a constant energy exchange, right? I mean, it's fun to change the way that we look at things. It's fun to have our imagination. And we do so, the reality about the situation changes because you start looking at it differently. So when you have an emotional outburst or when we have fear, for example, the best thing to do right away is just to stop, to pause, to breathe, to let that light in, to let the love in, and then deal with the situation. And recently I was talking to a colleague. We're doing a love coaching program. We launched a program for to activate sacred love, to activate that higher love within us, not just in a romantic sense, but in all areas of our life. And that's what's missing when we're lacking. When we're lacking, there's no fulfillment, and fulfillment is love. And we came from love. And so what we were discussing was, we can ask ourselves, what would love say? What would love say in this situation? If we give love, create love as an actual being, energy force. And all the spiritual texts talk about how God or the creator or angels, they're all beings of love, right? So by imagining or using your imagination to change the perspective, we actually bring that energy into our life. And when you bang your knee or when you have a headache, instead of attacking that moment or going to despair, and yeah, you're allowed to scream if it's in pain or you cut yourself, that's okay. But I mean, after, talk to it. Everything has a soul, mind, and body and energy. But when you put love into it, it reactivates it. It helps it to heal. And I've done it myself. And that's the only reason I can talk about it. I'm not going to share anything that I haven't tried my own, for sure.
I just wanted to expand a little bit on love and fear with a special story that takes you away from your stage. And it was actually at my farm. And it was September. We were all in Calgary for our business freedom experience. And before you came, you just said, oh, I really want to come out and see the horses, Trish. And I really want to come out and see the horses. And I know that there's a large horse community that follows us here on Spiral Up. And so I'll give you a little bit of sort of my perspective of it. And then I'd love for you to talk about your experience then. So you and Lucas came out and we were able to visit the horses. And then some of the rest of the Business Freedom team came out. And then I think it was Kelsey, the first one that wanted to get on a horse. And then the next person wanted to get on a horse. And so we started to get these beautiful horses that are so kind and gentle out into the arena. And we started to watch people interact with the horses, and we all had that experience. And I remember you sitting there, and I would go by you and I would say, do you want to get on, Warren? And he's like, nope. And then people would ride and they'd be laughing and we'd all be interacting. And then it would be, do you want to get on, Warren? Nope. And then a little while goes, and then it's like, do you want to get on, Warren? And finally, you just went, yeah, I'm going to try it. And you gave us your parameters, made sure that we had the right horse, the best horse, which I know Joanna has met, Crusader, one of our heart horses here, and Lucas and myself, and we were all there. And I just wanted to have you maybe share a little bit about that journey that day and what got you finally on the horse. And then what was your experience once you did and how you felt?
It's a really great memory there. I'd be happy to share that story. I will never forget it. In order to share what was going on in my mind and in my heart, I have to go back to the beginning. And I used to go as a child to an organization called CARD in Toronto, where it was for children with disabilities. And a lot of the activities I did as a kid was difficult and it was hard. And the environment was tough, challenging. And I saw things that still stay with me, painful things. And I remember seeing a child and they had false legs, like those, the attachments, and then they would fall off while they're riding the horse. Or, I wasn't comfortable seeing the pain and the suffering, and I wasn't comfortable as a child not being like everybody else. And it was very tough for me. And that was the last time that I interacted with horses that I was like actually, like I've been to the zoo and stuff, but or seen them, but I haven't actually. When I asked you about going to the horses, I was having previous dreams about horses a lot, and it's just like I realized that, you know, finally an opportunity to see them, and I love animals very much. So every time when I was a kid, it would hurt like crazy when I got off because my legs they're very tight, and there's a lot of spasticity, and it was a big stretch for that little guy back then sitting on the horses. So I would be in a lot of pain for weeks. And when I was sitting there at your farm, I think the past was approaching me and coming back and be like, Warren, you haven't done this in a long time. You have to fly back to Toronto. You have to, all the reasons start coming up, all the fears, all the past pains, all the reasons, everything that is getting in my way, all the stories that are going on in my head about what could go wrong were surfacing. Was I ready? Maybe I wasn't ready yet. Maybe it was this or that. I don't know. I don't know what could happen. Maybe I'll fall off, God forbid. I've heard stories about that. Like all the stories were coming up. And then you came to ask me, and then many other people also, Warren, are you going to ride? I'm like, maybe not, maybe. Like, it was just like the battle going on inside me. And then I was thinking, I was like, wait a second. It's not like me to say no, but I was afraid. And then I realized, I'm like, okay, so one of the lessons that I learned from many coaches that I had is stop asking how. And it's about the five where, why, maybe there is a how in there. What is it?
What, where, how, when, and why.
So there is a how in there.
There is a how.
Okay, so don't just ask the how or say no, right? You have to divide it up, right? I had amazing friends around me. I had the support. What could possibly really go wrong if I think about it, right? I mean, like, you even offered me to sit sideways on the horse, right? And maybe not even like full, and, you know. Then I also realized that, oh, I'm so going to regret it. And it's just not my style. And I know how happy I would be if I achieved something, as I always am. And achievement and progress is happiness, as Tony Robbins always talks about. For me, for sure, especially when I achieve something. Every day is an achievement, like the things that I'm able to accomplish, right? With the state of physical limitations that I have. So at that moment, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, if I don't try, I'm going to regret it. And then I'm going to go home. And I was like, you know, this was the highlight of my trip. I mean, there were other highlights, but that was like the main highlight. To have a picture of me riding again, and just like, I know how great I would feel. And I know how great it would make others feel as well, especially my family, to see that happening again. So that's what was going on in my head. Like, there was a battle, and there always is a battle. It's like, you know, all of the stories come up. So right away, I was like, okay, I have to change my story. I need to trust. I mean, I want to change my story. I want to trust. It's not necessarily, you know, the problem is we always make things wrong, right? We always, in our heads, we create these stories, and then we make things wrong based on our past, right? So if we have a bad emotion going on, or we're feeling down, or this, we make it wrong. Like, that's the number one thing that I recommend to people, is stop making things wrong. Start recreating the story, right? So if I didn't realize that, if I didn't have all the tools, like, there are people with disabilities I know, it's just, there's so much limitation around the whole area of the whole thing. There's so much limitation about, like, fear of what may or may not happen. And yeah, I mean, we do have to be careful more than other people. But I mean, like, what am I going to use? 4 crutches? Like, I mean, like, you know, what's the worst? Like a walker? Like whatever. Like, we have to learn to say whatever, right? And just try and take that leap. So I'm grateful, beyond grateful. And once I got on that horse, that experience was something I'll never forget, because it was like freedom, doing something beyond, it wasn't like I was doing something normal. I was doing something that I just achieved to do something, and I had the support and the love around me as well to do it. And as a coach or as somebody that's guiding another person, it's one thing to have tough love, but another to have real, genuine, authentic love around you. And when you have the support around you to do something, and it's to believe in yourself, to get to that point, to able to achieve something, the joy is unimaginable, what you can come from or what you can create because of that. And the horses in love, and your horses are trained, obviously, in a way that, like, you know, they're not going to throw me off, and they feel that I'm afraid or whatnot, and it's easier. And same with everything in life, like it just becomes easier. But you know, I can still smell the air, or you know, feel what it felt like to be up there, you know, and you know, just the support and the love around me, and the look on Eric's face when he walked in the hotel, and I'm like, I rode a horse. He goes, I heard. You know, so yeah, I mean, we do need to take into account our limitations, and that's important, because our body temple is our gift, and we need our gift, and we need to take care of our body temple. We need to take care of the body that's holding our soul, who we are, our true essence. And me pushing myself too much on the gym may be considered a little bit irresponsible. But knowing that you can get up and try again, and you may or may not be able to achieve the outcome upon which you would intend to achieve, but maybe something better will come from it, right? Something better that, you know, law of attraction and all the other stuff, like they work to an extent of what it is. Like there's a cross between what it is that you want versus what you need. And that is something very important to take into account for sure, because the outcome, you know, you can do all the work, but the outcome is still at the end of the day determined by some higher force that we need to tap into, to either let go, or maybe it's not time yet, or maybe soon, right? And a lot of kids can use that, you know, especially when it comes to rejection or dating, right? So I like to say is like, rejection is protection, because you never know, like, you know, think of it that way, because if rejection is protection, like maybe don't get too worked up about being rejected because by that girl or that guy that you really wanted to date, or whatnot, because, you know, maybe your real love is coming later, or maybe it's just not time yet, or maybe that is just not the person you're supposed to be with at this moment, right? And it's a protection from somewhere else that's looking down at you and be like, hold on, I know you really want this, but I'm giving you some, you know, I'm saving you here, or whatever, like not in a bad way, but just, you know. So I appreciate it, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity to ride that horse, and to go to your farm, and that I had that extra day, right? That extra day in Calgary to do so. So thank you for bringing that up.
And one of the things that I love about everything that you said is how in the Spiral Up world and the self-improvement world, you often find people that say, just concentrate on the positive thinking, just do mantras and everything will be okay. And something that is very unique and beautiful about you is that you have that balance and that awareness of, yeah, there are your desires, but we also have our limitations. And I think that you put it very beautifully on the cross between our wants and our needs. So I would love to hear from you, for all the people that is hearing us, that is something that you are a master on. I don't know many other people that are able to do that mix as well as you do, on how we can keep spiraling up, how we can keep improving ourselves, and still be humble enough to see what is what we want and what is what we need, and understand that sometimes they are not aligned. Sometimes they are moving in different directions, what we want and what we need. So I would love to pick your brain on that, and that you give some advice to our community about that part of the journey.
Sure, I'd be happy to. I appreciate you saying I'm a master at that. I had never thought about it. A lot of the things that I do, I just do, I just am, until I realize, like, it's important to take a look back and realize how much you actually have accomplished, or who it is that you are, that you become. So let's give an example. It's sort of like the example before. Somebody really wants to date this girl or this guy, right? It's something that somebody really wants. Or you really want that job offer, or you really want love and peace and happiness in the world. I mean, that is, the desires can be pure, and that's okay too, right? It's okay. We need desire. We need to have that desire. Our vessel, so to speak. Imagine your ability to receive blessings, fulfillment, anything in this world. Imagine it to be this cup, and this cup is, it needs to be big enough to hold what it is that you desire. So when we apply the law of attraction, or when we apply something that, say, I want this, I want that, and you can do all of the Think and Grow Rich and all of the methods and all of the tools out there and the manifestations and the vision boards and all that stuff, okay? So when you're asking for something, you receive that energy no matter what, okay? So there's different stages to it. So we can visualize, we can write it down, which is very important, because then it starts to materialize more. And we can, have the vision boards and all that stuff. We've already received it, what it is that we've asked for, in the form of energy. We need an umbrella and a big vessel in order to receive all that rain that we've called for. Because when somebody, let's say, for example, use that analogy, is that we ask for rain, but we need that umbrella to be able to hold that energy into our spiritual vessel, so to speak. So what happens is these packages of energy come down, and we receive them, and what may seem as stress or challenges or discomfort are really what it is. It's these energy packets coming down, prepare you to do that you've asked for, in a form that is meant for you to receive in this lifetime. Does that make sense?
Yeah, can you repeat that one more time?
Sure. When we ask for something, everything has an energy, or every time we have a thought, an intention, a feeling, a mind, everything like that, it taps into the spiritual force of energy, and these energy packets come down. Okay, so say I really want to make $1,000 this week, or no, sorry, let me rephrase that. I'm so happy and grateful that I made $1,000 this week. I just received that energy for it to happen. Now I can push myself all I can. I can work all hours of the night. I can push myself, or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll take care of my body, and I'll pace myself and all that stuff, and I'll do everything that I possibly can. If by the end of the week I do not receive that $1,000, what happens? Do I have doubts? Do I get mad at God? Do I get mad at myself? Do I put myself down? Do I make myself feel unworthy? Do I make myself feel that I'm not able to achieve what it is that I meant to achieve? I could have made all the vision boards. I could have made everything like that. By me having those feelings and those uncomfortable emotions, I start blocking something better or something different that I need to receive, right? So because our emotions and our frequencies, so thoughts send out the message and feelings bring them in, right? And they need to work together. So if I'm not feeling grateful for having the $1,000, for example, that I have not received yet physically, I've still received it energetically because I'm feeling it. But what happens is when we get worried, or when we start not, like, we get anxious or whatnot, if we're not calm in the situation about the outcome not being what it is we intended to become, we're pushing away whatever's meant to come later on, right? So what I was talking about, the energy packets, is that if you imagine these packets of energy, this rain that comes down, when you ask for something, you need to be ready for all of the discomfort that comes with it in order to expand your vessel to either receive that thing that you've actually wanted or something even better, but to be okay with both outcomes and to be patient in the process. What I feel is missing from the law of attraction and the fact that, you know, by this day I will receive this, this, and that, is the bond with you and the universe, the partnership, the silent partnership that you have with the universe about what you're going to do spiritually in return for what it is that you receive. And that is what I like to call the umbrella. So for example, if I say I really, really want to achieve this goal by this date, I'm so happy and grateful now that I achieved this goal by this date, and I'm doing everything I possibly can. You need the support of the universe to make it happen. And by you having that communication with the universe, with God, with Jesus, with Hashem, or whoever it is that you connect to, that's fine. Or even your soul. But say, all right, in return for this, besides the physical actions, I'm going to do my best to not speak slander. Or I'm going to do my best to treat more people with human dignity. Or I'm going to do extra efforts of kindness or give more charity. Something that is difficult beyond nature in order to receive something that is above nature for us to achieve in this world. So if we're not remaining calm in our emotional state, our feelings, then it's as if we are delaying the process of manifesting something that we need. And I get, without question, that people are suffering in this world more than ever before. And I get that there are people on the streets, and then there are people in the hospitals, and there are people suffering with health issues that really want to get better. And to be calm in those situations and trust and ask for the support or do whatever it is that you can, once you have that emotional state of being, the next phase can open up for something else to come your way. You know, and you know, you both know that we're all in the same boat, and now more than ever before, this entire world has got the memo that we are all in the same boat. For the first time, it's not just a saying anymore. Everybody got the memo, and I'm not going to. Nobody is intending to drill a hole under their seat anymore right now, unless they just decide to disregard whatever is going on in the news and staying at home and all that stuff. But I mean, that's basically it right now. Is everybody is conscious that there is something going on that is affecting everybody, right? So the more collectively we come together, the more this will speed up the recovery phase for it.
Absolutely. What would your advice be for the people that just can't get past the fear of this, the unknown, the what is going to happen, the fear of even death? Where would you suggest people go for support, or any tools that they could use?
The first thing is, we all fear the unknown. And when we don't have the answers, we get more fearful and we get more anxious. When it comes to death, the best thing that somebody can do if they're afraid of death is to learn more about it and seek more spiritual texts that describe positive attributes of what happens after somebody leaves this world. And the more you have, the more knowledge. Ignorance is not bliss. The more you learn, the more consciousness. It's all about consciousness. And if somebody is fearful about dying, then my suggestion would be that you learn more about the positive attributes about what spiritual texts talk about the afterlife. And it's important for you not to associate yourself with any negative feelings or thoughts. And from my perspective, is that I don't think that we would still be here in this world if we were not needed. And I don't think this is it. One, there's a spiritual text called The Teachings of Kabbalah. And I grew up with these teachings. And one of the things that they do talk about is that when a person leaves this world, they see the true reality of all that is. They see what really is the world. They see it all. We don't remember the past. There are studies about this book called The Emotion Code that basically it talks about for a moment how we may have emotional baggage from previous lifetimes. This doctor was talking about that as well. It's like, and there's stories about people that have seen the light when they have near-death experiences. It's not coincidence that these things happen. Yes, one could say it's just a dream. One could say it's not. One could say it's just imagination, but they saw it and they believe what they saw. And it's important for us to create our own belief systems about what it is that what we choose to believe. And it could be applied with everything in life. And the more we understand and apply what it is that we learn, the more we can get through things that are difficult, that are hard, that are challenging. One of the things that's going on right now is there's a lot of anxiety. We don't know when this is going to end. We don't know when things are going to go back to normal, so to speak, or if they even will. It's very difficult when information is not aligning with information, when it comes with stuff that is online versus things on the news, things of conspiracy theories or this or that. We need to take care of our mindset more than ever before, and to stand strong and focus on what it is that we can do to contribute, what we can do to self-improve, and what we can do to make a difference in this world, in the present moment as well as in the future, right? There are teams of people in Toronto right now putting themselves at risk to make sure that there are people have food who can afford it and have masks or whatnot, right? People are coming together now more than ever before. And the more those actions of going against nature is something that is going to make a difference energetically. And everything is energy if we understand it. Science, quantum physics, all stuff is catching up to spirituality. Now, like they're really catching up now, more than ever before. So when somebody it's not esoteric, like, mumbo jumbo woo-woo stuff anymore. It's actually been proven. Meditations have been proven to make a difference in the world. Meditations have been proven to, the crime rates dropped or whatnot. Sure, people could say it's coincidence, but then we have the earth levels have been, monitored when a mass meditation has been taking place. So, I mean, these things are available for us to tap into. The thing is, now more than ever before, it's important to have somebody with you, a coach or somebody that cares or somebody that is experiencing adversity in the past before, to walk you through and hold your hand during the process. Not necessarily to be dependent on, but it's one thing to read the books, study and watch the videos and watch the motivational talks and all stuff, but it's another thing to apply it, to actually really apply it and keep your mindset strong as possible. And it's one thing said, but another thing to be done. And so when you have somebody like Joanna or Trish, you or myself, we've gone through this, we've studied this stuff, and we've applied it. And now, you can either spend the time learning and applying, learning and searching and all stuff, or you can work with someone like the three of us that is going to basically show you the tools and methods that we use to overcome what it is that we deal with. Not just speed up the process, but also guide you in order to help you to become what it is that you intend to become, feel, or just be, right? And some people may not want to become something great. Maybe they just want to live a happy life, and that's okay. But the bottom line is, it's okay not to be okay right now. It's okay not to feel like happy all the time or excited or this or that. It's okay to feel down or depressed. We're all having our moments. I recently just got my itch. Like, I've done this before. I've been, you know, I guess you can call it quarantine, but like stayed home for months at a time. But eventually I get that itch, like, okay, I got to go out now. Like, I need a hug. I need to go out and see people. Like, I'm getting that itch too. And it is starting to get to me as well. But I just breathe and I focus on, you know, the projects that I have going on. When I say purpose over pain, I mean, the more dedicated you are. This morning, for example, I woke up like I have every reason in the world to cancel our talk today, right? But I don't want to, because it brings me joy to contribute, to overcome it. But like, you know, it's not like I'm disregarding whatever pain I'm going through, but, you know, whatever, I'll deal with it later. You know, it's not that severe or whatnot. But I spent hours after surgery in a hospital in agony on my phone doing work, right? Because it gives me, I'm not distracting myself, but I know that it gives me energy and joy to help another person.
Wow. I think that we could keep talking with you over like forever, and you are going to be for sure our guest on an upcoming episode because you have so much wisdom and love. Now that we're getting close to the wrap up, I would like you to give our community 2 tools that you use on your daily routines. Pick whatever tools you think that will serve from your heart better, and share with us 2 things that you do right now that you could, that people that is listening to us and is inspired by you and is going to look up for you on social media and your website when we close, and give them the information that they can start doing today and get their life even better.
Sure, I'd be happy to share that. The first tool is to take some time to write down a perfect scenario of how you are feeling and who you are and who you intend to become. It's an exercise that would be done. It could be done once, or it can keep doing or keep being modified. So basically is visualize yourself in the future, or even in the near future, of where you're standing, what you're wearing, what you're feeling, all the 5 senses, okay? And who it is that you are at that moment, whether it's be, you know, you are a great businessman, or you have a wife and kids, or whatever it is, in detail, as much detail as possible. The reason why it's important to write that down is because then it starts the second phase of actually starting to manifest that energy of which you want to receive. You're not asking for that, you're just having that in the present moment. That is the reality for that piece of paper. And then the second thing is that to start visualizing that moment. Now, when you visualize, the greatest thing that you could possibly do is to visualize the shit out of your dream to an extent that you have tears rolling down your cheeks with tears in your eyes. When you do that, or when you get to that state of joy, of happiness, you are sending out massive waves of frequencies from your thoughts and your feelings, and you're actually tapping into the subconscious and the universal whole cosmic orchestra, so to speak. and you sit there. I don't care how you meditate. Don't think about what's right or what's wrong, but visualize it. And if you need to, play your favorite song as loud as you can, because you want to raise your energy level. I don't care what situation is going on at that moment or whatnot or anything like that. You need to owe it to yourself to do that. And you visualize whatever it is that you wrote down until you feel it inside. So for example, if somebody really wants to get married, you visualize dancing with your best friend at the wedding, your family, how happy they are, how happy you are, all that stuff. And then you hit the subconscious. You're going to feel good after, because you've raised every possible cell and energy in your body. So those are the 2 steps that I would definitely suggest. And to be able to tap into that instantaneously throughout the day. So when you get used to doing that, and when you're faced with a situation that may be traumatic or maybe challenging or maybe, uncomfortable emotionally or whatnot, is you want to step into that person that you've created of yourself, to be your own hero, to step into that hero within you, because that's the hero that you've created on your paper and who you're visualizing to be. And that's also why I have the background here. That hero within you is, you will step into that person. How would that person act? How would that person be? How would you act if you were that person back in the future of that person, right? So tapping into your future self. So I think that was 3 things, but
it was perfect. And I think both Trish and I were wondering this one when we start, and you actually asked yourself one of our last questions, and is, what is the deal with the Batman superhero signal behind you? Are you the modern version of Batman? Explore a little bit on that one, and what is the meaning behind that? I know that you do everything with a meaning. You are one of those people that is very thoughtful on what you do and how you do it. So why you don't share with our community what is the purpose of that Batman in your life?
Batman is my favorite superhero because he doesn't have any powers. And yeah, you can say he was born into a rich family or whatnot, but he's that superhero because anybody else can work out really hard and become that person, that hero. And he became that hero himself. He wasn't like, I'm sure yes, he had the resources, and we all have resources that we can actually tap into, but that's the reason why I choose that Batman is my hero, the fictional hero. But as I've said before in another talk, is that, I have found the hero within. And that is always the next step, is not to focus on somebody else being your hero, unless it inspires you to be great also. Not to have envy, not to, be fearful of, not to wish I had something I'll never have. None of that. The only reason why you could admire somebody is so you could become and have those attributes. One of the lessons that I do with my students for coaching is that, we list out, and my coaches have taught me that as well, is that you list out all the qualities of people that you admire in your life, or the heroes or whatnot. And when you do that, you look back at it and see the reason why you chose those, even subconsciously, is that you have those qualities yourself, and that you can enhance them even more now, because you realize that the only reason you're drawn to those people is because you have it within you to become your version of what it is that you intend to be in the world. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I'm going to figure out who my superhero should be. I know calmness is my superpower, but yeah, I'm going to have to do some thoughts around that. Warren, we could go on for hours and hours, and hopefully you will come back as a guest on another episode with us. Joanna and I love you so much. And I just want to let our listeners know that you can find Warren on his website, which is walkwithwarren.com. He's also on Instagram. I am Warren F. And his Facebook page, Warren Falkenstein. And we encourage you to go and follow and like. Also, if you want to see Warren in action on stage, he is a 4-time award-winning speaker with lots more accolades coming up in the future. And so look for him on YouTube and watch some of those, comment on his videos, share them, subscribe to his channel, and we know our Spiral Up community will love you, Warren, as much as we do.
I would say one of the gifts and pearls of Warren is how humble he is. Like through all this time, he was just giving and giving and giving love and knowledge. But based on what Trish was saying, if you guys go and look on his Facebook and also on YouTube, one of his videos was viral into Goldcast, and Jay Shetty's company take his message and make it one of their messages that they are sharing with the world, just because of the power and the wisdom and the care and the love that Warren has in his heart. And that, like you guys saw it the last hour. This is the longest episode of our podcast, Warren. You break the record. But you saw it this hour, and it is just a matter of how he expressed all those feelings and values in every word. So go and follow him, go and reach out to him. And like if he said, if you are facing severe pain and adversity, he is the person that can help you with. Go and reach out to him, tell him that you listen to the podcast through us. And I am 200% that no matter how bad the adversity that you are facing feels like, he will be able to hold your hand and help you to go forward. So, Warren, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate this. Thank you. And thank you for both of your words. I really acknowledge that. Thank you.
Okay, guys, it's time to say see you soon. We hope that you enjoy our episode with our phenomenal and magical guest, Batman Aka Warren. And Trish and I love to have you guys here. We would love to hear what you think about the episode and what do you want to see more about. What do you think, Trish?
Absolutely. We're open, what guests you might like to see. And Warren, thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing yourself, your time, and your love with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye. Keep spiraling up, you guys. Bye-bye.